If you had told me a year ago that I'd be able to save $10,000 in just 6 months, I probably would have laughed. Like most people, I thought saving that much money in such a short time was only possible for people with huge salaries or zero expenses. But here's the truth: you don't need to be rich, win the lottery, or live like a monk to hit a big savings goal. You just need a plan, a few smart strategies, and the willingness to make some changes. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly how I saved $10,000 in 6 months, step by step, and show you how you can do it too, no matter where you're starting from. Let's start with the most important step: setting a clear, specific goal. When I first decided to save $10,000, I wrote it down and put it somewhere I'd see it every day. I broke it down into smaller milestones: $1,667 per month, or about $417 per week. Suddenly, the goal felt less overwhelming and more achievable. I knew exactly what I was aiming for, and I could track my progress along the way. If you want to save a big amount, don't just say, "I want to save more." Get specific. Write down your number, break it into monthly or weekly targets, and keep it visible. The next step was to get brutally honest about my spending. For 1 month, I tracked every single dollar that left my account. I used a simple spreadsheet, but you can use an app or even a notebook. I categorized everything: rent, groceries, eating out, subscriptions, shopping, transportation, and so on. This was eye-opening. I realized I was spending way more than I thought on things that didn't actually make me happy. For example, I was spending over $200 a month on takeout and coffee runs. Once I saw the numbers in black and white, it was much easier to make changes. With my spending tracked, I moved on to the next step: creating a bare-bones budget. This doesn't mean cutting out all fun or living miserably, but it does mean prioritizing what matters most. I listed my essential expenses: rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, and minimum debt payments. Everything else was up for negotiation. I challenged myself to cut or reduce every non-essential expense for 6 months. That meant cooking at home instead of eating out, pausing subscriptions I barely used, and finding free or low-cost ways to have fun. I even called my internet and phone providers to negotiate lower rates. But cutting expenses was only half the equation. To reach $10,000 in 6 months, I knew I had to increase my income too. I started by looking for ways to earn extra money on the side. I picked up a few freelance gigs online, offered tutoring in my neighborhood, and even sold some things I no longer needed. I wasn't making thousands overnight, but every extra $50 or $100 made a difference. I set a goal to bring in at least $300 a month in extra income, and some months I exceeded that. If you want to save faster, look for ways to boost your income, even temporarily. There are more opportunities out there than you might think. One of the biggest game changers for me was automating my savings. The day I got paid, I set up an automatic transfer to a separate savings account, one I didn't touch for anything except emergencies. This pay-yourself-first approach made saving effortless. I never had to rely on willpower or remember to move the money. It just happened in the background, and I adjusted my spending to fit what was left. If you do one thing after watching this video, set up an automatic transfer, even if it's just $20 a week. You'll be amazed at how quickly it adds up. Another key strategy was finding ways to make saving fun and motivating. I created a visual tracker, a simple chart on my wall where I colored in a box for every $500 saved. I celebrated small wins along the way, like hitting my first $1,000 or reaching the halfway point. I also found an accountability partner, a friend who was working toward her own savings goal. We checked in every week, shared tips, and encouraged each other to keep going. Saving money doesn't have to be lonely or boring. Find ways to make it a game and get others involved if you can. Of course, there were challenges along the way. There were months when unexpected expenses popped up: a car repair, a medical bill, a friend's birthday dinner. Instead of giving up, I adjusted my plan. If I had to dip into my savings, I made a plan to replace it as soon as possible. If I overspent 1 week, I cut back the next. The key was to stay flexible and not let one setback derail my progress. The important thing is to keep moving forward even if it's slower than you hoped. Let's contrast this approach with what most people do. Most people set vague goals, save whatever's left at the end of the month, which is usually nothing, and hope for the best. They don't track their spending, they don't look for ways to earn more, and they don't automate their savings. As a result, they stay stuck, feeling like saving a big amount is impossible. But when you flip the script, get specific, track your money, cut back where you can, earn a little extra, and automate the process, suddenly, saving $10,000 in 6 months isn't just a dream, it's a plan. As I got closer to my goal, I noticed something surprising. Saving money started to feel less like a sacrifice and more like a source of pride. Every time I saw my savings account grow, I felt more confident and in control of my future. That's something most people never experience because they never give themselves the chance to see real progress. The truth is, the hardest part is getting started. Once you see those first few hundred or $1,000 add up, your motivation skyrockets. You start to realize that you're capable of more than you thought. If you want to save $10,000 in 6 months, here's what I recommend. First, set your goal and break it down into monthly and weekly targets. Make it visible, put it on your fridge, your phone, or your bathroom mirror. Next, track every dollar you spend for at least a month. You'll be shocked at how much you can cut without feeling deprived. Then, create your bare-bones budget and challenge yourself to stick to it for 6 months. Remember, it's temporary. You not giving up your favorite things forever. You just pressing pause so you can hit your goal faster. Don't forget to look for ways to boost your income. Even a few hours a week can make a big difference. Sell things you don't need, pick up a side gig, or offer your skills online. Every extra dollar goes straight to your savings, and most importantly, automate your savings. Set up that transfer so you never have to think about it. Treat your savings like a bill you can't skip. Along the way, celebrate your progress. Mark your milestones, reward yourself for sticking to your plan, and share your wins with someone who supports you. If you hit a setback, don't quit. Adjust your plan, learn from it, and keep going. Remember, saving $10,000 in 6 months isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Let's contrast this with the old way of doing things. Most people wait for the right time to start saving, or they tell themselves they'll save whatever's left over. But life always gets in the way, and the goal stays out of reach. When you flip the script and make saving your first priority, everything changes. You're not just hoping for a better future, you're building it, $1 at a time. So, are you ready to take the challenge? Set your goal, make your plan, and start today. If I can do it, you can too. Drop a comment below with your savings goal, and let's cheer each other on. Remember, the only thing standing between you and your goal is the decision to start. 6 months from now, you could be looking at a $10,000 balance and a whole new level of confidence. Don't wait, your future self will thank you. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you.